We're going to do lesson 3 out of the book. Let's see what it has in store for us. What type of language is C#? Answer all these questions. Hit pause, answer these questions, and we're going to go on to the next slide here. Okay, we're going to talk about the dot operator, but actually I'm going to go back and I'm going to answer these questions. What type of language is C#? It's an object-oriented programming language. When a tool is in the toolbox, what is it? Well, if you look over here, okay, when you have, come on baby, you can move, you can do it, come on slow computer. There we go. Alright, so if I go in the toolbox, what are these things? These are our classes. These are different classes that are available to us. Okay, and once we put them on the form, now they're objects, or they're an instance of the class. Okay, so when you put a control on the form, what is it? It is now an object. What else is it? It is also an instance of the class. What is the form itself? The form itself right here is also an object or an instance of a class. Okay, and where do we get all these controls and classes? They come from the .NET libraries that we have available to us, that somebody else did the work, but we have it available to us. The dot operator. The properties, methods, and events that belong to an object can be referred to by using the dot operator. So for example, well, we're going to look at this later. Just write this down, and we're going to probably come back to this. This might be a little bit premature. Well, maybe not. Okay, well, let's just do it. Okay, so let's say at this point we want to write some code. Okay, so we have this calculate button, and we want something to happen when the user clicks it. Okay, so what we do is we click on this, and we click on the events. So there's different events that this button can have. So somebody can click it or double click it. So if somebody clicks this thing, that is what we want. So we're going to double click on the mouse click, and it's going to write a bunch of C# code for us. So you can see that it created the method signature. So private void button calculate mouse click. So when somebody clicks on the button calculate, so I gave it a decent name for us. Okay, so let's say, for example, let's say, I don't know, let's say button calculate. See what happens. BTN calculate. Okay, so when I start typing stuff, this is called IntelliSense. So I can say, oh, I want to do this guy right here. So it helps me to know what I can do. And then when I say dot, well, this is a list of all of its properties and methods. Okay, so I can change these properties. So these are the same properties you'd see over here in the property window. Okay, so I can change its back color. Here's all the things I can do as far as changing its properties, and so on and so forth. Okay, or if I want to automatically click it, I could double click this, and when I click the button, then it would click itself again, which is kind of funny. But anyway, so these are all the properties and methods that are available to that object. Okay. Oh, okay. Sometimes the IntelliSense gets in your way and it pops up and you don't want it, so you can hit the control key so that it doesn't block all the code. Okay, so if you don't want the IntelliSense to pop up and block the code below it, then you can hold the control key to hide it. Oh, I didn't talk about the dot operator. So it's just like in Java. So whenever I type in txt dot, it's just referring to anything that belongs to total, either a property or a method. That's the dot operator. Okay, Windows Forms, write all this down. Windows Forms applications are event-driven, the ACT method. Okay, so basically in Greenfoot you had the ACT method, and you could look at it. Okay, so in a Windows Form application, you don't really see the ACT method, or what we'll be calling the game loop from here on out. It's hidden. But basically it's saying, hey, look to see if somebody clicked this button. Hey, look to see if anybody clicked that button. And those are called events. Okay, so you'll kind of get a feel for that. Write these down in your notes. Okay, write the code using code snippets. Okay, so let me show something to you. Okay, so we created the button calculate mouse click method, or this is also sometimes called an event handler. And so let's say we wanted to write an if, so which you are. So what you can do is right click, and you can say, hey, I want to insert a snippet. and it's from Visual C#, and I want to do an if. So I click on this. Okay, the code snippet is if I just type that thing over here, it'll do it for me automatically. Anyway, I'm going to click on that, and so it started my if true and end if, and I'm going to keep going. Okay, let's take a look at the next slide, see if I need to go. Okay, the goal is to write code. Okay, so we're not there yet. Let's take a look at the code you're supposed to write real quick. Okay, so here's the code you're supposed to write. Hit pause and copy this down, and then copy this down. Now here's a different event. This is the button exit click event, so you're going to have to find the click event for button exit. Okay, and this one's pretty short. All you have to do is write this dot close. Okay, so write all that code down, and let's go to the next thing. The goal is to write code so that you don't really need comments, but write them where needed. Anyway, your code should, and the names of your variables in your code should be so nice that you don't really need too many comments, but write them anyways. And I'll show you the comments later, but we're going to add comments a little bit later. Let's see. The text editor toolbar can comment out lines of code if you need to, so let's take a look at that. So over here, so let's say that we didn't like this line of code and we wanted to comment it out, we could do that, and if we want to bring it back, we could do that. That was always handy in Greenfoot. Okay, so there's other things. Collapse or expand blocks of code. Alright, so you can, if you want to expand a block of code, you can click on or collapse it, and then if you hit the plus, you can expand it. So sometimes if you weren't aware of that, you could feel like you just lost a bunch of code. Okay, refactor code. Alright, change discount to discount %. So I messed you guys up on purpose. We made a bad name for this thing. So this thing right here was not supposed to be discount. It was supposed to be discount %. So I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to right click on it, and we're going to refactor, and we're going to rename it. This is super handy if you ever want to rename a variable or something. And instead of having to do it over and over again, we'll do it everywhere. And we're going to apply that. In every case of discount was changed to discount %, which is super handy. Okay. We're not ready for this quiz yet because we have to add comments. Alright, so let's take a look at a version that has good comments in it. So here you can see a code that has some nice comments in it. So right under the method signature here, you have, if you have a slash and an asterisk like that, you can create a big long one, or if you have a double slash, you can do a single line comment. So we're going to do these comments like this, and you should be all done if everything's up and running. So when I hit start, basically what it does is it debugs it and it runs it. It lets us play it. So let's see what it does. And here it is. If I click here and I type 1000 and I press calculate, it's going to give me a discount, so take 20% off, so subtract 200, and the total I have to pay now is there. So if I hit exit, it'll work, or if I hit escape, it'll also get us out of there because we set that up to do that earlier. Okay, and let's go back to our quiz.